Hey y'all, it's me, Alex from The Longest Cosplays. Welcome back to the channel. Hope you guys are having a great day so far. Today, we are going through April of 1990 in the Longest Comics Presents series. If you're new to this show, or if you have a terrible memory, in which I'm sorry if that's the case, I hope that gets better. This is a series. This is a series where I am reading every single comic in my collection from Marvel, DC, and Image from January of 1990 to October 22nd, 2003. Might be wondering why that date? That's when I was born. That's when I was brought into this beautiful world by my beautiful mom, who I love so much. And today we're doing April 1990, like I already said. It's been a minute since I actually have sat down and recorded this. I recorded February and March a few weeks ago, in advance, because I was on vacation for a little while. So it's been like an actual minute since I've done that, and as you can see, made some changes to the room. I ran it so. For a while, all of those boxes were under my bed, and I was starting to kind of run out of room because I had to buy another long box for all my DC books, and I have to buy another long box for my Marvel stuff. Like tomorrow, I should do that. So I just decided, hey, I can't keep these under my bed, and sure enough, I decided, why not just put them right there? Because that way I don't have to really worry about getting into a tight space or anything, just to get my books, and also that is way easier to go through than it was before. And I'm not exactly sure how well stacking these is gonna go. I don't want to stack them too high, because I know that can be bad. But right now I don't have much of a choice. Until I get a filing cabinet, which I ideally would want to put over there. I'd really want a filing cabinet over there. But right now I don't have one, so I gotta wait a little bit. But today's video shouldn't be too long. Probably no more than 45 minutes, I hope. So yeah, I got my tea here. Thank you to everybody who told me that I should just continue to drink the tea. It's wonderful, and it's way better for speaking for long periods of time than my usual can of soda, which I still have a bit in this can, but I decided, why not just get a glass of tea? Me and Sean, Basement Comics, were talking about... We were just talking a bit recently, because he found out that I was born in October, and I guess our birthdays aren't too far apart in days. In years, though, pretty far apart, but I can't, whatever. And he was like, there's gotta be a Green Lantern mug out there somewhere, and I'm like, yeah, there probably is, I just haven't gotten around to buying a Green Lantern mug, because I would actually buy one for this specific purpose. But speaking of Green Lantern rings, my brother, him and his band they just did a show a couple hours up the mountain from me, and I went and saw them, and he texted me, he was like, hey man, I have stuff for you, and I was like, what? And he was like, yeah, no, these things that I said I would give you several years ago, yeah, I found them. So I now have little Green Lantern 2011 rings. I have 2 of them now. This one right here, obviously you can see it is way longer than it actually would be. But this thing has a light in it. I'm not gonna be able to showcase it. Oh, I guess if I shine it on my shirt, will that do anything? Yeah. You can kind of see it. Yeah, you can barely make it out, but it's like a fucking Green Lantern signal, and it's really cool. This other one also is supposed to light up, I guess like this center thing, or I guess the whole ring, but it doesn't. Not even like I could really do anything cool with it because it's meant for a child. This one I can get on, but it's not easy to get off, and quite frankly, I don't need to like put myself in a Chinese finger trap. So these two are now just like little display things behind the T, in which I got for myself. I'll just put this right here. Yeah, so that's cool. Thank you for that. And you can see my He-Man. Go check out the Tower of Toys stream I did with Eric over at SideQuestComics if you want to see those more in depth. I really only talked about this one, but I showed this one off too because I got those during my trip to Sacramento. And I specifically saved them for the Tower of Toys stream because I was asked to, pretty much. I had already unboxed this one right here before Eric had asked me, so I was like, yeah, I mean, save one. Otherwise, I would have talked about it in that video, but that's fine. So what are we reading today? What are we reading today? Today, I mean, I don't really know why I do this, because you can see it in the thumbnail, but in case you're not paying attention to the thumbnails, in which I don't blame you, I don't go all out like some people do. But we got Green Lantern Volume 3, Issue 1, Fantastic Four Volume 1, number 341, and Marc Spector Moon Knight. Crazy that I have to say Volume 1 of this now. Marc Spector Moon Knight number 15. Yeah, 15. So, got 2 Marvels, 1 DC. Pretty standard. A very light month for me. What would I be listening to, hypothetically, in this weird timeline that I've created for myself? Well, to start off, again, thanks to Sean over at Basement Comics, I'd probably be listening to, there'd be 2 albums. One of them is The Bridge by Billy Joel. That came out in 1986. Yeah, 1986. Me and him were talking, like I said, and he brought up that his favorite song from Mr. Joel is A Matter of Trust, which I was impressed by. It's a great song, don't get me wrong. Wonderful hit. Probably the hit record off that album. But we were talking about it, and I was like, that's a really good album. To pick a favorite song from any of Billy Joel's discography, like A Matter of Trust on The Bridge, I mean, that's a great song. So, I was running some errands, like, the day after that. And this was like last week or something. And I decided to, listen to the album in full again. And I was like, man, because I hadn't done that in a while. And I was like, man, that really is an underrated album. Like, I think the vast majority of people would say that, like, it's a objectively good album, but, there's nothing, like, groundbreaking. Also, I feel like I should mention this now, because my dogs are going crazy. There are people working on my house. I don't know what they're doing, but they're here. So if you hear random noise or barking, that is why. My dogs hate people. But anyway, yeah, The Bridge by Billy Joel. I mean, a lot of people say, like, it's objectively a good album, but again, nothing groundbreaking, but I think there's a bunch of standout songs. Like, when you line it all up. Obviously, A Matter of Trust. I mean, that's the best song on the album. There's no doubt about that. This Is the Time and Temptation are 2 of my other favorites. This Is the Time is a very, like, prom-like song. Like, if you were, like, attending prom in 1986 or 1987 or something, you probably heard that song. Maybe? I don't know. This Is the Time and This Night are 2 very, like, they give off prom vibes, I guess is what the kids these days would say. It's giving prom. I feel like I'm 40. I'm spiritually 40. Everybody tells me that I am practically a 40-year-old man, and every day that rings more and more true. But Temptation, he wrote that song about his daughter. because he was focusing a lot on like his music career, and he didn't really want to. Like he wanted to be there for his kid, and that's really cool, man. Alexa Ray Joel, who he named after Ray Charles, which he got to do a collaboration with on that album, Baby Grand, which is another great song, and I highly suggest you listen to it. But Temptation is just amazing. That's a really powerful song, and those of you who have kids would probably at least understand the message that song is sending, or at least, you know, what it's trying to say. I have a cat. He's not a kid, but I have a cat, so I kind of get it. Cats count, right? I don't even know where he's at. Because I've cleared, like, the underside of my bed, and I even, like, vacuumed and shit under it, he has been loving spending time under there. And so I've put, like, his little scratch post thingy that used to be over there. I put that under the bed. He has a toy that he would constantly play with and piss me off. I finally put that under the bed after putting it away for a long time. So he's been loving it, and I'm sure he's probably down there right now. So that's one record I'd be listening to. And today I listened to 39 Smooth by Green Day, which I'm pretty sure is their debut album from what I read. Some standout songs to me were Don't Leave Me, Green Day, and Rest. It was a pretty good album. Because I looked through albums that released in April of 1990, and this one popped up. So I was like, okay, yeah, I'm familiar with Green Day. Let me listen to this. I tried to find, like, just straight up 39 Smooth on Spotify, because sadly that is the most convenient way for me to listen to music. I had the 1991 release and not the 1990 release, which the 1991 record has way more songs on it. So I just decided, fuck it. The first 10 tracks are, you know, the same, so I just stopped there. Sure enough, I did in fact listen to a couple of the other ones, because I was taking longer than I expected. But it was a really good album. I'm not, like, too, like, well-versed in Green Day music, Green Day songs or albums or anything. I know American Idiot. I think that's the one. I think that's like an album or something. Either way, I know that. And I know a couple of other hit songs. But that's really it. I'm not like the biggest fan of Green Day. I just like their sound. And now that I'm like thinking about this, I'm realizing I'm wearing a Sublime shirt. I did try to see if there was a Sublime album in 1990. There was not. It was like 1995 or 4 or 1995 or something. Then onward, I've never listened to Sublime. My mom just bought me this shirt. For reasons that I don't know. It's a cool shirt. Don't get me wrong. I like it. But I'm sorry to the big Sublime fans. I don't know anything. We'll get there in a couple of, like, probably a year or so, this is week 4, so yeah, probably like a couple of months from now we'll get to Sublime, and it'll be fun. But yeah, I'm doing pretty good. I got my tea here, in a taller glass. Again, Milo's sweet tea. Southerners, we all know how great this is. I'm pretty sure they have this in, like, other regions than just the Southeast. But a lot of people that I know down here in the great state of North Carolina, and South Carolina by extension, we know how good this is. This is the good stuff. I am way more familiar with their lemonade because I use that to mix drinks. Usually like Tito's vodka and the Milo's lemonade. I'll mix that together. It's a very very basic mixed drink, but I love it. To like, normally I would do like 50-50 with that, and then have some ice in there, in a mason jar, like a standard size mason jar. But nowadays I do like 60-30 lemonade vodka. Or 60-40 lemonade vodka. Just because I don't want to overdo myself. But you don't need to know my drinking habits. You're here to see comic books and whatnot. So let's get into that. So we're starting off Green Lantern Volume 3, Number 1. You can see that I have this signed by the artist, Pat Broderick. And this is written by Gerard Jones, pencils by Pat Broderick, inks by Bruce Patterson, Anthony Tolan on the colors, and Albert de Guzman, I think. Albert de Guzman on the letters. Yeah, I got to meet Pat Broderick at HeroesCon this year. Very nice gentleman. He's very nice. I thought I had gotten a picture I remember getting a picture of him, or with him. I guess it didn't, like, save on my phone, so I have, like, I have no evidence of me meeting him, but except for this signature. You're just gonna have to take my word for it. Which I feel really stupid about, because normally I'm really good at, like, making sure that stuff, you know, is there, but either I had accidentally deleted that photo, or it never saved. Either way. Green Lantern number 1. This is following... There's a lot of stories that this follows, but, you know, we just finished Emerald Dawn in the last one, and this is kind of... That story retold the origin so that we could start off, you know, we can catch up to Hal Jordan and see what he's been up to. Of course, yeah, the long-awaited return of DC's greatest cosmic heroes. That's true. So, Hal Jordan, he's older, he's scruffier, he's older, he's wiser, he's seen shit, right? And he's kind of just, like, reflecting on everything that's been going on. And he dives off this cliff and activates his ring, which, of course, activates his costume. And you get that, like, amazing. And I think this is genuinely one of the greatest Green Lantern splash pages I've ever seen. And it's just how detailed Pat Broderick draws Hal Jordan in this. And for those who don't know, like, in the 90s, Hal Jordan has, like, the Great Temples, or the Wisdom Lines, I've heard them be called. The Great Temples, and I spoke to Pat Broderick about this, and I'm sure he said it a million times, but I decided to bring it up to him just because I wanted to see what he would say about it. He's like, yeah, no, I made that. I came up with that idea because he's been around for so long, why not make him look older? And I was like, I mean, yeah, like, this is how I envision Hal Jordan. Thank you for doing that. And of course, as the comic goes, or as this run goes on, the temples, you know, are more defined and whatnot. But Hal, he's going to visit the Justice League headquarters. I gotta figure out a better way to, like, because I don't want to, like, outright bend like this or anything. So I just gotta do a good job of this. There we go. He's out visiting the Justice League headquarters, and Blue Beetle is excited to see him. Ted Kord's Blue Beetle. Batman's like, are you thinking about joining us? And Hal's like, he doesn't really get to say anything, because Blue Beetle is kind of like, is that the OG Green Lantern? Is he actually going to join us? And, of course, the rest of the Justice League, at the time, are, and I believe it's, Fire and Ice, who are also there. And everyone's like, you can have my room. You can have my room, Hal. And, of course, Hal Jordan's like, you guys already have a Green Lantern, Guy Gardner. and they're all like, well, we can vote him out and get you in before he can even catch on. And of course, Guy shows up and he's like, what? What do you mean? What's going on here? You know, not in the classic Guy Gardner fashion. And he's like, what does this bozo have that I don't? And of course, Batman's like, he's way more mature than you. He's more experienced or whatever. And Guy's like, no, no. I'm the only Green Lantern on this team. Like, there's nothing. You can't do anything if I have anything to say about it. And Hal's like, yeah, no, I'm not joining the Justice League again. And then Guy Gardner, being Guy Gardner, he's like, oh, we're not good enough for you now? And Hal's like, that's not, no. I've got my own shit to worry about. Jon Stewart's out of commission. And you're like the highest appointed Green Lantern of this sector. You better fucking live up to it. And so, Guy is like, yeah, I get it, man, you're just a pussy. And Hal's like, you know, I was gonna make an offer to come back, but, you know, it's better that I don't. And so, Hal leaves, you know, and he does whatever. And so, you cut to Jon Stewart. If you've read Green Lantern Mosaic, which I highly recommend, I think it is one of Jon Stewart's greatest stories of all time. If you read Green Lantern Mosaic, then you know that he is responsible for the death of, like, an entire planet. Really messes with him for a little while. And so, Jon Stewart's kind of, like, dealing with the, I guess the trauma that would come with a disaster that big. Or I guess a disaster that major. Again, the tea really... it's way better than soda. And so, Hal Jordan he's kind of off now, and basically what is like almost the middle of nowhere. And he catches a train, or whatever, he gets pushed off, or whatever. He hitches a ride, and I am only now realizing, he's in a truck with just a random old guy, right? And I don't know what kind of cigarettes those are, but they're 100s. If those are supposed to be 100s, then that box should be a little bit bigger. That's... maybe I'm, like, nitpicking on that too much? I realize now that I said this probably wouldn't take more than 45 minutes. It probably will, in fact, take over 45 minutes. Because we're 23 minutes in. Anyway, he hitches a ride, and he ends out, in this little small town shop. And he's like, where can I find a Rose Lewis? So, this old lady behind the counter, you know, she tells him where to go. He goes there, and he essentially gets himself a job that pays in food and shelter. Because I guess money doesn't exist or something in this weird thing. Jon Stewart is still... We keep cutting in and out. To Jon Stewart kind of like... he's kind of having like an identity crisis or something. He's like, I fucked up. I killed all those people. Am I a Green Lantern? I am a Green Lantern. Am I a Green Lantern? You know. Like, how did I let this happen? You know, what... you know, and he's all mad. And so, cut back, Jon Stewart's about to go to Oa. Right. Hal Jordan, he's doing his work, he's all buff, you know, and Rose Lewis and her kid are kind of just, like, forming a relationship. And, again, you really gotta, like, appreciate how beautiful... Let me turn this page back, actually, because I want you guys to see just how beautiful, like, Pat Broderick's art, like, is during this time period. Like, his faces are so detailed, and you get all the emotion that's running behind the eyes of these people. And it's truly, it's truly wonderful. So, Jon Stewart makes it to Oa. Power batteries decommissioned. It's fucked. And so, he discovers... Ooh, what is that? Ooh, he discovers, like, a corpse or something. But anyway, Hal's in the yard doing work or whatever. Guy Gardner shows up, of course, what an asshole he is. He basically just pokes he just pokes the bear, right? And of course, Hal's not too happy about that. So they get into an arm wrestle with their rings. That's really funny. But Rose Lewis shows up a little bit because Hal beats Guy Gardner, right? Rose Lewis shows up and she's like, "You're one of them." And of course, she wants Hal to leave, and so he pretty much does. If I remember correctly, I thought there was there's something in here because there's like a thing that I brought out here. Or maybe it's in the next book. I think it's in the next book, actually. There's something that I have here that goes along with one of these. Either way. Green Lantern #1. A fantastic start to this new era of Green Lantern. And again, as much as Gerard Jones sucks as a human being, and I will continue to say that because I don't want my positive review of this book to reflect anything. Just, he sucks. Look into it. This is a genuinely really good book, and I love the pre-Kyle Rayner era of 90s Green Lantern. So, we got that. Next up, on a much lighter note, we have Fantastic Four 341. Written and drawn by Walt Simonson, Christy Scheel. Is it Scheel or Skeel? I think it's Scheel. Christy Scheel on colors, Bill Oakley on letters. And you get, of course, yeah. I mean, it's Walt Simonson. It's really good. If you remember from the last issue, there is a Black Celestial. He was defeated. I did a terrible job of recounting that one. Black Celestial is the thing they needed to stop. And they did. So the Black Celestial is gone. And now Galactus, he's still out and about. He's still trying to eat shit up, right? And so we got the FF. We got She-Thing, Iron Man and Thor, you know. They're pretty much all still trying to figure out what the hell is going on. Reed is realizing that there's something different about Galactus. It feels like he remembers the first ever time the Fantastic Four ever took on Galactus. What they're dealing with now reminds him of that, which isn't very relieving. So he's like, if we can recover the ultimate nullifier, there's a chance we can stop this, right? So that's pretty much their issue, or their mission throughout the entire thing. I'm realizing I'm turning pages while I still have things to talk about. Silly me, getting ahead of myself. And there you go, there's the noise that I was expecting to hear outside. It shouldn't be too bad. At least I hope not. And Reed figures out that Sue Storm is alive, right? Because, you know, he figures out she's alive, and of course he's ecstatic about that. So they go, they secure her, everything's fine, right? No, Johnny's going crazy. He's trying to fight the Fantastic Four, and of course that's like, there's something wrong with him. Like, that's not Johnny, right? So they kind of neutralize him, and they kind of go off, and try to figure out what the hell is going on. Thor kind of helps them travel to the greater beyond of space, and let's just take a second to appreciate Walt Simonson's ability to draw sci-fi technology, because like this is like pretty much on Jack Kirby levels of detail. and craziness. And so they're all trying to, like, it's all just a bunch of techno babble. They're all trying to solve shit. And then, you know, they're all together in this room trying to figure out, like, what the hell is going on? How are we going to get the ultimate nullifier? You know, like, this thing is the most powerful thing we have, and we need it, like, now to stop Galactus, right? And so Reed, they pretty much get it, like, almost instantaneously. Yeah, they pretty much. Sorry, I have, like, notes written down on a sticky note to help me do better at this. There's a bunch of shit that I skipped out on, it seems. But yeah, they get this thing. It's like a bomb, right? Sue Storm grabs it out of Iron Man's hands because Reed Richards hands it to Iron Man, and Sue Storm grabs it. And he's like, and Reed's like, wait, no, what the fuck are you doing? Don't mess with that. And right then and there, they realize, oh shit, like, Ben Grimm says, like, the looniness is spreading. And Reed's like, yeah, no shit, like, that's not Susan. And so she reveals herself, and it's actually Nebula kind of possessing Susan Storm. And she lets on that she did the same thing to Johnny, and she wants to travel to a different timeline. Something about Kangs, all the Kangs, you know, and she wants to rule the universe. Classic Marvel villain storyline. And so she kind of gets she herself gets neutralized. And so Reed's like, yeah, no, this wasn't the hardest issue to solve. Johnny had mentioned a blue woman, so obviously that had to be Nebula. So I told Iron Man, hey, get one of your capacitors onto the ultimate nullifier. And so that's exactly what happened there. And so she kind of just casts it off into this little force bubble. And they try to get back to Galactus because he's still growing, obviously. And pretty much the rest of this issue is spent kind of just, like, dealing with that and being like, guys, we need to, like, not fuck this up. So there's Galactus, and again, Walt Simonson is a fucking mastermind, because that is a like, he draws Galactus like you feel how huge he is. And so you get this page right here, which is really, really good. You get another Dick Tracy ad, because there's a lot of Dick Tracy going on in 1990. Pretty sure this is when the movie was coming out. So Galactus, they blow something up and they gun it, essentially. Get the fuck out. They get out of there. And then this really cool page right here. And yeah, they find Nebula, and she kind of gets sucked in as well. And so the FF, there you go, this is what I'm meaning. Yeah, so she gets sucked in. The FF are still, they're running, they're making sure they're getting the fuck out of there. And I want to take a second to talk about, there's a Ghostbusters 2 for Nintendo ad on here, along with, Archon, Stealth, and the Three Stooges. I didn't even realize there was a Three Stooges game on Nintendo. But this is Activision's Ghostbusters 2 on Nintendo. I just so happen to own it. I mean, it's a pretty alright game. It's not great. I got it for, how much did I pay for this? $13 at a local game store, like 10 minutes away from me. Or no. Sorry. No, I'm thinking of Gremlins 2. No, I bought this in my old college town. There was a local game store about 5 minutes from where I used to live. Either fucking way. Not the greatest game of all time. It's the better of the two Ghostbusters games on Nintendo, at least in the United States. Because there is a Ghostbusters 2 game that was released in Europe. I think it's called the New Ghostbusters 2, which is way better than the Activision games were. Especially that first one. Jesus Christ, that one's awful. If you ever wanted to hear the Ghostbusters theme in 8-bit over and over again, with like a 2-second pause in between, like every time it ends, that's the game for you. But this one's fine. It's a side scroller. Like, play this for a while and then go and play Contra, and you'll see how different it is. That's what I wanted to talk about. It's really stupid. And it's funny that I just so happen to own the game that's in the ad. But anyway, Fantastic Four, they're safe. Everything is fine. Everything is fine. They're back. She-Thing's kind of like, it's 4 a.m., guys, please. Just keep quiet or something. So that's pretty much the end of that issue. They're about to launch. There's gonna be a missile that's about to be launched or something. I don't know. Obviously, pretty wonderful issue. I liked it. I like stuff like this. It's really cool. And I love Walt Simonson, and I love everything he has done so far. So let's jump in to the final issue of today, Marc Spector, Moon Knight, number 15. This is written by Chuck Dixon, with pencils by Sal Velluto, inks by Tom Palmer, Christy Scheel on the colors again, letters by Ken Lopez. Normally I wouldn't give that much information, but I have it in front of me, and I figured if I'm gonna steal Basement Comics' show for myself, I may as well steal the information dumping too. Because I can't have the glasses. Because unfortunately I have really good vision, and don't need glasses. I guess that's not a bad thing to have great vision. But I can't like steal, I mean I can put on fake glasses, but it's not gonna ring the same. Either way. This is a part of the Trial of Moon Knight storyline, which starts here. And if you recount, last issue he was fighting Bushman, and now, one of the best things I've ever graced my eyes upon. He's fighting neo-Nazis! How wonderful is that? Moon Knight's fighting neo-Nazis! Fuck yeah! We love to see that! There's no way that's a controversial thing. That's all I'm gonna say. Moon Knight's fighting neo-Nazis, and he's kicking so much ass, and I love to see it. And so, he's hurt, you know, he finishes up what he needs to do, everybody's running off, you know, he's scared the shit out of these people. His chauffeur, Marlene, rides up, and she's like, hey man, I'm not gonna let you kill yourself. I mean, there's, like, Moon Knight's part of your life, I know that, but Marc Spector's here too, and you can't sacrifice yourself and shit. And so Mark's like, God, what do I have to do to make you get off my ass, you know? So we cut to Silver Sable giving the Wild Pack a rundown on Marc Spector, who he was, what he was doing, and all the shit dealing with him. And so Sandman is there too. Sandman's there. He's a pretty important character. I forgot that Sandman was even in this issue until today. But it's fun seeing, like, other people's villains in another book. It's always fun seeing that shit. So Sable's given the rundown, and we learned that Marc Spector was tricked into going to the doctor. He hates doctors as much as I do. I don't hate I shouldn't say I hate doctors. He hates going to the doctor as much as I do. I was actually talking with someone today about the fact that I rarely ever go to the doctor unless it's absolutely necessary. And that only happens like once in a blue moon. Usually I get like a cold and I'll just wait it out. I'll take over-the-counter medicine. Or if I do have something more serious, then I'll just take like pain meds or something, like ibuprofen. Like the last time I went to the doctor was like August of last year because I had tonsillitis and it was just actually getting bad and there was nothing I could do about it. Like ibuprofen wasn't working as well, so I had to get like steroids or something. That wasn't fun. If you ever get that, I'm so sorry, because I wouldn't wish that upon my worst enemy. But either way, Marlene and Frenchie, they trick him into going to the doctor. And he's like, I'm fine, don't worry about me. And they're like, dude, come on. Like, we know you're in pain, like, take care of yourself. And he's like, fine. But I gotta return to Spectre Enterprises, like, they need me over there. And so, he goes and he does that. And Silver Sable, her and the Wild Pack are, like, following him, essentially. And so, he falls asleep and he falls asleep, and there's this really cool, like, nightmare page, essentially, where, there you go, moving my hand out of the way. There's this nightmare page where, Moon Knight and all the shit that he has to deal with is haunting him. And he wakes up to a phone call from Jeff. And they're just kind of, like, talking, and he's, like, basically checking in, right? They're checking in, and Mark, they're like, Mark, you're neglecting your health, man. Like, you can't be doing shit like this. You work too much, essentially. And Mark's like, don't worry, I'm fine, And he realizes that the Wild Pack and their henchmen have been following him. So, of course, they get into a little chase sequence. And, again, I have no idea what they're doing out there, but they're out there. It's interesting. My cat likes to watch them, but, of course, he's not up here when I decide to record. Anyway, they get into, like, a chase sequence and a little fight sequence. And look at that! Moon Knight, well, Marc Spector, not as Moon Knight, is fighting Sandman. How fun is that? And they do that for a couple of pages. Some people, see this happening. And he's like, don't worry about this. Just go, be safe. He shoos them away. And again, this goes on for several pages. There's not much really going on here. He's just trying to defend himself, and he runs into Paladin and Silver Sable. And you're kind of starting to realize that there's like nothing he can really do. Like they have power in numbers over him. And ooh, look at that! Ghostbusters 2 on Nintendo. The greatest video game of all time. I like Ghostbusters 2, the movie, though. My favorite movie of all time is Ghostbusters 1984. But Ghostbusters 2 is a worthy sequel, to me at least. And I really like the gray uniforms they wear during the winter scenes. Like that, there's like that montage where they're back in business, and you get Ghostbusters by Run DMC, and they're solving all kinds of cases. They're busting ghosts, and like the few scenes that take place during Christmas, they're wearing like gray uniforms, and I really like the gray uniforms, and I wish they wore them more in that movie. And rather, I wish they wore the gray uniforms for everything afterward, because they revert right back to the tan jumpsuits. But whatever. This isn't a Ghostbusters channel. This is a comic book and cosplay channel. So either way, anyway, Mark is kind of like, all right, fine, fuck it, you win. Just take me. I surrender. Take me to Bosque Verde. Bosque Verde? Probably not pronouncing that correctly. But that wraps up that. And a really solid week. A really solid week month, sorry. This isn't New Comic Book Day. A really solid month for me. In April of 1990. I have a convention coming up this weekend, Charlotte Comic Con. It's up in Concord. I'm gonna make a video about that, obviously. I'll probably do like a con vlog. Maybe I'll get in some comic book hunting in there too, but I'll have to see how good the weather is, and maybe I'll get a cool photo shoot with my buddy Brad, Spectacular Scarlet Spider, who I will be featuring on this channel, hopefully soon. Or hopefully sooner rather than later. Yeah, I have a lot planned out. I have a video in the works. I need to actually start, like, putting in the time for it. But I have a video about Immortal Legend Batman in the works, because I really like Immortal Legend Batman. I think it was one of my, like, favorite reads of, what was it, 2024 or 2025 or something? Either way, I loved that book. Only lasted 6 issues, but I think it's worth talking about. I have a video that I'm actively planning out, talking about my 10 years of cosplaying, what have I done, and where am I going from here on out. And, yeah, life seems to be looking up for me. There's a lot of good things happening in the realm of Alex Thomas. Yeah, if you haven't already, the CBCA Awards, there's not much time left to, I think, actually, it should be ending really soon, so it might actually be too late, to nominate people, for the CBCA Awards. I'm in fact actually gonna check in right now, because I feel as if I should. How many... When do nominations go back up? This isn't one of those things where I'm gonna heavily edit it. You're gonna watch me do this. You're gonna watch me do this live. And I'm sorry. So, okay, Saturday, August 8th, which is in fact my convention day. So, when this goes up, on Thursday at 3 p.m., go and submit your nominations for the CBC Awards. I've noticed that I'm on there. Thank you. For those who nominated me. I really appreciate that. That means a lot to me. And then there's finalist voting on Saturday, August 22nd through September 19th, which is about a 4-week period, so be on top of that. Again, thank you for those who have nominated me. It really means a lot to me. I'm not doing this for an award. I'm just here, happy to be a 22-year-old in the comic book YouTube scene. I don't know, it's interesting. It's interesting being here. Tea is finished. I'm done talking about comic books. I've talked about everything I need to, so thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, or night, depending on when you're watching this. And I will talk to you guys in the next one. Bye-bye now.